Hi, welcome to Read Becca. Today we're talking weekend reads again, looking at what I've been reading this week, finishing up, and starting coming into next week. So I haven't been feeling like reading too much, so when I'm not feeling reading or I'm slumpy, I tend to turn to either fashion competitions or cooking competitions, and I went down the rabbit hole of cooking competition shows this week. So I actually got sucked back into Hell's Kitchen, the current season. I had sworn it off about 3 seasons ago because the drama was just too over the top for me. But this season seems to have dialed it down a notch, and it's back to more focus on the actual cooking, like it was early days, and other than them keeping around someone for a little bit of extra conflict too long. But overall, I'm liking that. It's fun. It's a good distraction. And then the Spring Baking Championship and Britain's Best Home Cook is a new one to me. So I actually have started that from the first season. I love Mary Berry from Great British Bake Off. Love all of those shows. So I'm really enjoying that one too. So that's been taking up a lot of my weeknight time in the evenings after work. But I did finish up some things this week. So first up, I finished up my read for the Translate-a-thon and the BookTube Spin, Dark Constellations by Paula Oleksiak. This one also is my second book from my physical TBR shelf, which is exciting. So this one is a translated work from Argentina. I really enjoyed it. It's kind of weird sci-fi, near future, not quite biotech, not quite cyberpunk, but it's told in 3 timelines, and it kind of merges all of those towards a DNA surveillance state story, but it never quite concluded. It had all these threads running through the 3 timelines, but didn't really bring them together. So I enjoyed it overall. I think I probably will do a full review on this one because it is pretty complex, but I don't think it's going to be a new favorite. I will probably pick up more from the author, though. I think they have some other previous works that are non-sci-fi, so I would be willing to try those out. And in terms of my Kindle books this week, so I finished up The Dragon with the Chocolate Heart. So that is a mid-grade. It was really fun. I love Stephanie Burgess's ideas and writing. So that one was about a dragon who is trying to kind of prove her family wrong, that she is responsible and can be a good dragon. So she goes out of her family home and leaves the mountain and runs right into a food mage who turns her into a human via a pot of chocolate. So she doesn't care too much about being in a human form. Now that she has tried chocolate, she's obsessed with and just wants to know how to get more chocolate. So she goes to the city, gets an apprenticeship with a chocolatier, and it is just so silly and fun. Hijinks ensue, all of that goodness. I enjoyed it a lot. I think it didn't have too much heavy content, but it did have some really subtle, deeper themes. So I think I probably will do a wrap-up of that one as well for middle grade March. Great book. I really recommend it. Loving Stephanie Burgess, and I probably will be checking out more from her. And then third, on audio, I finished up If I Disappear by Eliza Jane Brazier. And I think this one was a debut, if I recall. It's a thriller. Reminded me a lot of I'm Thinking of Ending Things. And it had that same kind of unsettling, the narrator just doesn't seem quite right, but it's not exactly the same. There's no plot similarity, really. In that one, it is a true crime podcaster has disappeared, and one of their super fans basically is using the podcast as a guidebook to uncover the disappearance, basically. So she follows the family of this podcaster trying to figure out where this woman has disappeared to, and she kind of gets a little betrayed feeling out of the fact that the stuff that was included in the podcast wasn't always 100% of this podcaster's life, so she didn't know everything about this person that she feels very close to for spending all this time listening to the podcast. So that was kind of weird, and there was this weird sexism and internalized sexism thread running through it that I don't think was really handled too well. I think I've read that done a lot better in books like The Body Lies by Jo Baker. That was a fantastic take on sexism toward women and crime against women specifically. So I think it was okay. It was very compulsively readable. I didn't want to put it down at all, but I think it had some big problems for me, and I probably will not remember it, in the future. And then, so that's all I finished. Then in progress, I still have A Desolation Called Peace by Arkady Martine. I'm still loving it. It's absolutely great. Doing some really interesting things with the colonization of the Texan Empire and kind of first contact with aliens. Really interesting. So I'm looking forward to wrapping that up. I'm about, I think, almost 200 pages in, which is about almost the halfway point. And then I also have my, as always, Ursula K. Le Guin. The Dispossessed is still going. I'm about 80 pages into that one now, and I still am loving this reread. So that's what I have in progress. On audio, I just picked up Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. I have not read Murata's previous book, so this was a first entry for me, and it's turning out to be a lot heavier than I expected. So it's very short, but very heavy. So I will be trying to get through that. I also have, I've been really enjoying all of the Women's Prize coverage, and ironically, I had a hold on the audio of The One-Armed Sister Sweeps Her House, or How the One-Armed Sister Sweeps Her House. But, so that was like a 10-week hold, I think, and now I'm down to 3 weeks. So that one may come in this week or next week, usually depending on how things go with those people that push off their hold. Usually it's about 2 to 3 weeks recommended that I see things actually come in. So we'll see. I may get that one soon and start it up. I hadn't known at the time what it was about or that it was even a contender for the Women's Prize. So that'll be exciting to follow along with that one and in the prize. And I think that's all I've got going this week. So looking forward to hearing what you all have got going this week. If you enjoyed this, like and subscribe.